veteran wearing that new outfit, he was like $1 million. Giving back is key for me, quite frankly. We did an event called Suiting Our Heroes, where we invited everybody to come in and basically donate their gently used suit. Because there's a lot of veterans out there, to be quite frank, that can't even afford a suit. So what we did was we had the community get involved, giving food, giving some soft drinks, and basically come out and donate your gently used suit. What we did with those suits is we went ahead and gave them to veterans that couldn't afford anything because they're gently used. We had them tailored. We donated a shirt and tie to go with that. And guess what? When you see a veteran wearing that new outfit, he was like $1 million. And he knows he can go out there for the next chapter of his life and feel confident about that.
Caught him off guard. See that? He wasn't even paying attention.
Eyes right. I was ready.
Like 60 weeks in a row, I've caught James off guard now.
60 weeks? Has it been that long?
Actually, no. It's been more like 40. I think we're coming up on 50 weeks.
Yeah, there's a big episode coming up here this month. It'll be our year anniversary.
It is. I should check who's scheduled. But hey, this is exciting. We are coming off. Let me close out all my stuff. We're coming off of a huge week in Nashville with Hometown Heroes and Bunker Labs. So that was pretty cool. That was more fun than I expected.
The reason why I enjoyed that trip so much, one of the reasons I should say, is got to meet Blake, right? And I told Blake how you've been stingy and didn't give me a Bunker Labs t-shirt, but you gave me the mug only. So he's going to get me a t-shirt and take care of me. Oh, you did give me a pin too. I'm sorry.
I gave you 2 pins. I was being generous.
Well, you must have lost it in the mail because I didn't get the other pin.
But it was a great week. This week we're at home, just getting everything ready, setting conditions for the rest of the month, and really digging in and getting ready for PodFest next month. PodFest Global, we'll be speaking and doing a whole bunch of events there. So it's going to be really awesome. Looking forward to it. But
you know, the thing is, and I'm going to post this later, but we finally found the mic that will work for Marty the Moac Martinez. I got a picture of you right in front of the biggest mic there ever was in Nashville. I'm going to make sure that we post that and take that down to PodFest.
Oh my goodness. Hey, there was a huge event with our brothers over at Veterans Growing America in Donnell down at Fort Hood. Man, it looked like they had a amazing event. If you're a veteran that has a good, check out Veterans Growing America. They've got more events coming up. I think the next one is in South Carolina. We'll have to get Donnell back on. I think he's on vacation right now. He's heading down to what do you say, Dominican Republic?
Yeah,
or
he did. I was a little jealous when I saw that message. I said, how is he going on vacation again?
Who knows? He must be, business is good. But
our major pay must be great.
Hey, so we got a legend coming in this week. The man, the myth, the legend. I called this episode the one that invested in the middle. And that's kind of based on this TED Talk he had, right? You saw it, right? Did you watch it? Did you do your research?
Of course I watched it. Absolutely. You know, I'm terrible with names. I got to learn names. So I said, there's the best way to learn it is to find video. But talking about an amazing, president, chief advisor to a company, but not only that, an author. You can't forget that he's an author now too, right?
Got it. Read it.
Is yours autographed?
No, mine's not autographed.
Okay, that's what we got to work on during this episode.
With the autograph.
Will you please autograph this? 151 insights broken down into 5 sections. This book's amazing. I know you're going to talk about it, Marty. But
no, absolutely. And we're going to bring Bill on. We're talking about Bill. I'll put up who we're talking about. Bam! This is who we're talking about. We got Wild Man Bill up here. This book, if you're a transitioning military member or spouse or somebody, this is a great book. What I love this is not the kind that you read necessarily in one sitting. This is the one where it's your go-to. If you have a question and you're looking at talent acquisition or networking or transition or culture, there's different chapters that are just broken up with, how many did you say, James? 181 insights?
151. I'm sure he's going to add more to it though. Yeah. And
you just pull it out and it really, this is a go-to book. I like this. And it's called Military Career Transitions Insights from the employer side of the desk. So it's different than What Color's Your Parachute and all these other great books are out there, because this is about what's on the other side. This is amazing. So let's bring him on here. Let's talk about his career and what he's done, because I'm sure everybody now is like, dude, it's 8 minutes and you guys are still flapping your gums. So if I'm ready. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes.
God, seriously, I don't know why the computer loves him, but it does that every week. Welcome, Bill. Welcome. Appreciate you. So, thanks for being our legend this week. Taking a break from your busy schedule and spending some time with us and just telling us about your story, brother.
So, oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I know you are a busy man. You've got a bunch of events coming up. One of the events you got coming up is April 29th. That's a pretty big one for you coming up, right? It's was it Boots to Books?
Boots to Books. I'll be keynoting a virtual hiring event they've got. Should be a great event, and I'm looking forward to spending time with Peter Klein and his crew to help folks understand better how to transition and maybe make some connections that land some great future careers.
That's odd. There's not enough of that going around right now. I'm telling you, you've definitely cornered it on that one. This is amazing. But before all that amazing happened and you started keynoting, let's go back. And I'm looking over here because you've done so much. I have to actually scroll all the way down to figure out, okay, where does this story start? Oh, there it is. 1985, 7th Infantry Division Light. Is that where it started?
Yes. It is Fort Ord, California.
Fort Ord, California. I was supposed to go to Fort Ord. My recruiter told me I was going to an airborne unit there. Anyways, they were just trying to get me. They were just trying to get me the door, the bastards. Luckily, I found out and I wound up going into a Ranger Battalion. But tell us about your story, your journey. What led you to the military? Is it a family business, or was it go to war, go to jail? What was the story?
Kind of a family business. We traced our military history back to the 1870s in the Dakotas. My granddad, because I'm old, my granddad was in World War I, actually. Enlisted infantry guy. My dad was a physician in Korea. Shortly after the war. So I always thought the military would be a cool thing, And quite frankly, when I was young, I wanted to be a drill sergeant because I love the hat. What the hell did I know? I was a kid, Yeah. My dad said, you know what, if you're going to go, why don't you consider going as an officer? It's like, okay, whatever. Do I still get to wear the hat? And he was like, yeah, not so much. Anyway, I did the ROTC thing at University of Toledo. I was a horrible student, but I was really good at the ROTC thing. This was kind of Cold War era. And, Branch come up and they go, where do you want to go? And I said, well, send me to Berlin. I mean, where else would you want to be in the Cold War, right?
Right.
And they said, great, thanks for your input. You're going to Fort Ord, California. And I didn't know anything about that. I said, okay, I'll go wherever. And they said, you're going to a newly reconstituted 7th Infantry Division, and it's going to be light infantry. And I go, great, whatever. I went out there. Wow, what a cool place and what a great unit. It was a tremendous experience. We got to do a little work in Central America, supported the Panama invasion, did some cool stuff out there. So I'd still like to get back.
Yeah, a lot of people, I guess, forget about the role that 7th Infantry Division played in Panama. Everyone hears about the Rangers and 82nd. You guys were playing a pretty pivotal role down there, right? Were you part of that, you said?
Yeah, everybody's got a role to play, and none of this happens independently. And you get some storied names out there, and that's all great, and all these units and folks deserve the honor. But there's always folks that are doing hard work right there with them, and 7th ID was part of that. So yeah, it was great to be with them. I got a call from Branch, and they said, "Hey, guess what? We're going to send you the Officer Advanced course, and go do that. And then where do you want to go?" I said, "Well, send me the 82nd. I mean, why wouldn't you want to go to the 82nd?" And they said, "Gee, thanks for your input. We're going to send you to the 10th Mountain Division." And I said, "What the hell is that?" And they answered with, "Where the hell is that?" They said, "Well, it's 80 miles north of Syracuse." I said, "Well, that can't be too bad. I'm born and raised in Ohio. I understand winter."
Yeah.
Or not. Or not. So, yeah, I was there from 90 to 93. Did Hurricane Andrew with them. I was part of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team. Did Hurricane Andrew, which is kind of a different mission. But if you think about humanitarian support and, operations other than war, wow, what a meaningful mission. I mean, there's a lot of stories, but in any case, that was good. Shortly on the heels of that, they said things aren't going well in Somalia.
Yep.
So we're going to send some folks over there, and you get to hang around, Mogadishu and Beladogle and Belatweyne and a bunch of other little places. So yeah, that was the next assignment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you hit the hot spots, brother. I mean, during the Cold War, there was a lot of places where nothing was going on, and then there were some places where things were going on, and you were there like freaking Forrest Gump. You just happened to
kind of, yeah. I didn't get shot in the buttocks though.
I didn't have one too many Dr. Peppers.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's so because that's a different take of when we have people and like, well, I was during the Cold War. And what I did was Motor Stable Monday, and I did, so that's awesome. And thank you for your service. And
thank you. You guys too, man. Y'all done good stuff.
I appreciate it. But as you're talking about the FHADR mission, the Foreign Humanitarian Assistance Disaster Relief or Recovery, that's huge. It's satisfying and it's horrifying at the same time when you see, what's happening and what has happened. It really makes you appreciate what you have when you get home.
It really does. I like to say you see the best in people and you see the worst in people. And it's all mixed up together, and it gives you a different appreciation for life overall, and quite frankly, the absolute joy we have living here in America. I mean, it's amazing.
Right, absolutely, and that's where we talk about first world problems. It gives you an appreciation for first world problems a little bit more. Yeah. So you did 7th Infantry and 10th Mountain. Then you went over to logistics, because up until this time you were infantry, right? No,
I was logistics the whole time.
You were okay. And then,
I was a logistics officer the whole. It's funny, when I went through the ROTC thing, they said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Nobody listens to me. I swear to God, it's crazy." They said, "What do you want to be?" I said, "Infantry." And they said, "Great, you're going to be ordnance." I said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Berlin." They said, "Great, you're going to California." "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Fort Bragg." And they go, "Great, you're going to drums." I quit asking. I just send me wherever the hell you're going to send me, because
you're going to do it anyway.
It ain't going to matter. But yeah, so I left drum. Branch called me and said, "You're really good at this low intensity conflict operations other than war, logistics support." So we want you to come to Fort Lee, Virginia, to the Logistics Management College and help rewrite the Logistics Officer Advanced course. So I was one of 13 officers they brought out of the field, and we worked with the academic advisors and stuff, rewrote the 20-week program, combined ordnance, transportation, logistics, aviation, medical support, and something else, and allied nation stuff into one 20-week course. Got it accredited at the bachelor and graduate levels. So I actually got to spend time doing academic work, not just on the block, but the stuff behind the scenes, which at the time I didn't appreciate because I want to be back in the field. But while I was there, I wound up finding out that, one, I was getting selected for promotion to 04, and two, I found out I was getting divorced. I was like, oh shit, now what? Right. And what I realized in hindsight is that assignment was fortuitous because it gave me experience that's relevant to the civilian world more clearly than field time really did.
Yes. Now, I love that because we have those. It was kind of, so I became a modeling and simulation officer. I loved the infantry. I didn't want to leave the infantry, but I realized Peter Pan's going to grow up someday. I didn't know what I knew what I was saying, but I didn't know what it meant. You know what I mean? And so I went to be modeling and simulations, and it really helped because it gave me, one, a different perspective of the military, and it allows me to do all sorts of other things. It really positioned myself to where we are now. And I think that's kind of is because after that you went over to recruiting command. Is that correct?
Well, you know, when I decided to resign my commission while I was on a promotion list, Big Army decided that, you know, that wasn't what they wanted me to do. So they were going to, on the one hand, do me a favor. On the other hand, they're going to stick it to me, you know? So they said, hey, buddy, if you're going to get out, you owe us a year and we'll get you home, but you're going to be a recruiting company commander. And I thought, oh my God, with the good comes the bad, you know?
Right.
Another assignment that I didn't appreciate at the time. It gave me real world contact with civilian businesses and people in the market that I wanted to live in.
Right.
I didn't realize it at the time because, you know, I'm going through a divorce, I'm getting out, transition sucks. And, but in hindsight, it was a pretty good assignment.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I actually spent a little time at Fort Lee, Virginia myself. I was, I don't know if you're ever familiar with the CLICMO program, Civilian Logistic Management Office.
Okay.
So you all started that just a little bit after that. They started that program there at Fort Lee. So I went in as a GS-11 civilian, and they started out that program there. But you talk about understanding, you know, I've always, you know, Marty likes to mention this. I spent some time in Signal Corps for about, like, I think it was 9 months or something like that total before I got out as active duty as well. But that logistics time actually prepared me for what we're doing now. It prepared me for life.
Absolutely.
I wanted to stay infantry, but you know, that really wasn't, you know, what was going to happen for myself. Just like you, at the time, I didn't appreciate what I was actually, the experience I was gaining. So, you know, I appreciate you writing the course because I actually got to attend some of that stuff. So I thank you so much.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
So, yeah, because I mean, that's interesting though, because this was all, like you said, Bill, this is all setting you up, whether you knew it or not, for what you're doing now. Because as I'm looking at your resume and reading your bio, dude, you're a training development HR leader, you know, talent management, HR, organizational development. I mean, that's just, you were just building this up, right? I mean,
I didn't know it at the time, but yeah, that's exactly what was going on. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. How did you, is this something you just kind of stuck with? You got out and you're like, okay, well, you know what? I kind of like this and I'm pretty darn good at it. Or was it, I'll just take the job and kind of see where it goes?
Well, it was kind of interesting. When I first got out, I had no idea what I was going to do or how to do transition. I didn't know I was a hot mess. And so I got out with $121 of unpaid leave and a lot of bills. So I was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? So I didn't know how to network. I am by nature a huge introvert. And this was before Indeed and LinkedIn and all this great stuff. So I would literally pulling out the yellow pages, you know, that big, thick phone book. And going, well, I guess that looks like a company with an interesting logo. Let's check them out. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing. Long and the short of it is I networked into a job as Deputy Director of Economic Development for the county I lived in. Great job. attracting and retaining businesses and employment and all that. I had no idea what I was doing, and it didn't pay very well. So I kept networking, and what I was interested in was talent management. I didn't know it by the title. I had been a battalion 3, and I had been a company XO. I'd been a company commander more than once. I had been a brigade logistics. So I understood how well the military prepared their talent to go do what needed to be done. I thought, well, why can't we do this in the civilian world? Well, that automatically kind of leads to talent management. And I found a job. I networked my way into a job as a manager of training for an 1,100 person air freight facility. Got almost a 300% pay raise from one job to the other one. And that led to this big, long career at, really, really senior levels in big companies.
Wow. So, I mean, that's amazing. And so if you've got the book, you realize he just talked about his transition. That's a chapter. His networking, which is another chapter. And then the next chapter, talent acquisition, recruiting, and interview. And he's basically, whether he knows it or not, he's basically talking about his book through his story. Now he lived it. What better subject matter expert? I mean, I think that's why I love the book, because it is insights from everybody, but you've crafted it. You put these chapters in a way, again, whether you knew it or not, to help people that are also going through a transition. As we kind of do the penguin salute when people ask, what are you going to do when you grow up? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up. I'm having fun now, and I'm not even worried about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting when people transition, they may not be real sure how to network or how to get their message out. And, if they get the courage and fortitude to get out and go, hey, I'm going to go meet somebody. Mm-hmm. Then they go, hi, I'm Bill, and I'm, transitioned from the military. Great. How can I help? And the answer is, I'll do anything. That's a horrible answer.
Right.
Because employers don't have anything jobs. I mean, we got real work to do, and we have real jobs to get that work done. So you have some idea what your target is. You guys will appreciate this. I tell people, you're never going to hit a target you can't identify.
Yeah. I actually used that last week.
Yeah.
We actually used that last week at our boot camp. I said, look, we have to set you on an azimuth so you know your target. Because even if you're 1 degree off, 10 clicks away, you're going to be way off. Yep. You're not going to be able to hear James pounding his canteen cup on the land nav sign saying, Marty, I'm over here, dummy. Because you're so far off azimuth. That didn't ever happen because James sucks at land nav and I'm amazing at it. But I'm kidding. But no, that's awesome. So you got out and now you're moving into corporate America. You've done your transition. You're starting to network. What were the challenges? I mean, what were the, as you transitioned, growing into this new skin as in the HR world? What were some of the things? Were you still knife handing everybody, or what were some of those things that you struggled with?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was still soldier boy Bill. It was crazy. Shedding the past was really hard for me. And it's sometimes when you transition, it's by choice, and sometimes transition happens to you.
Right.
In my case, life circumstance happened, and I had to make a choice. And it wasn't a choice I wanted to make. I absolutely loved the time in the military. The fact of the matter is, I love my kids more than the military, so I got out so I could be as close to them as I could.
Yeah.
That didn't mean I figured out how to behave differently, how to interact differently. So, I was strapped, man. I was still light infantry logistic leader guy, Bill, and I didn't understand the nuances of corporate culture. And, I didn't understand that, you get to a meeting eventually, that's probably okay. And, none of it made sense to me. And I was hanging on tight to the past. Now, in hindsight, what I've learned, and when I work with individual folks and coach them, I said, what you need to do is honor your past, but you need to leverage it for your future. Okay. Find all those good things that brought you to where you are today. Shed all those things that may not be appropriate. Only bring them out if you have to. And then learn how to leverage all the good stuff in this new environment, in this new battle space, if you will. So you can bring to bear the good stuff in a way that people receive well.
Right. I love that.
That's great advice. Think about it, Marty, because it's hard for us, right? We've all experienced that transition where we left the military, and then we're looking at each other like, okay, so we know how we were before too. That's the other game changer, right? When I see Marty, I still see him. When I look at him, this is a compliment, Marty. I still see him as the 25-year-old second lieutenant that I met back in the day. I don't see the 60-something plus year old man that can't ruck anymore or do any PT, right? So, but that's the key. You know, I love how you just said that, because a lot of us get stuck in who we were and say, hey, look, that was great, but now we're moving on. We're still somebody now, you know. Marty knows I always say this, you know. One of my interns said this to me when I had one of my businesses, said, hey, look, service doesn't end with a contract, so neither should you, right? So just because you're not serving anymore doesn't mean you can't bring value. That's why I'm excited, Bill, that you're here. I'm ready to get into this book, because I know that's where, you know, you suffered and was sacrificed, went through that pain, and now you're using your tool and using this book to help others. That's why I'm excited. So,
oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And I think, so I've already dropped the comments, or in the comments, I put a link to the book, so you can pick up this book. Again, if you're a transitioning service member, you know somebody who's transitioning, this is a great book. Even if you have a job, we're always transitioning, especially in today. It's a good one to have.
That's a really important point, because I think a lot of times folks think transition is one and done.
Right.
And I think what people need to realize is transition is now a part of whatever your future is. You know, I transitioned from the military to the civilian world. Then I transitioned from that first job, which was kind of pseudo-governmental economic development stuff, into air freight transportation, learning and development. And then I transitioned into heavy manufacturing, and then I transitioned into consumer goods manufacturing, and then I transitioned into entrepreneurship.
Right.
So this isn't a one and done. I mean, you really, when you experience it, you really need to do yourself a favor and learn it well, and then understand how to adapt the lessons in your future, because it's going to happen again.
Yeah, no, I love it. You're absolutely right. You know, we were talking with one of our clients is, you know, there's the people that are transitioning and the people that have transitioned, but will transition again, and they may not even know it. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and cut to commercial. Then we come back. I want to talk about let's really get into what you're doing right now, and because you're working with a number of foundations and stuff. So let's unpack that a little bit. So let's do it after this commercial break.
You're watching the Lounge with Legends TV show with your hosts, Marty Martinez and James A. Feltz.
There he is again. Oh, goodness. So, hey, if you guys are just joining us, we've got Bill Kiefer here. He is the author of this amazing book, Military Career Transition. He just finished explaining to us his journey into the military and how he's got almost to where he is now. That's what we're going to talk about in the second half here. But it's been pretty great so far. We've already dropped a link to where you can get a copy of the book, and then we'll put a link to where you can see his next big upcoming event on April 29th, Boots to Books. And he'll be speaking there about, again, the transitions. And so, so we're going to talk now about where you are and what you're doing now. Where do we even start? Do we start with what you're doing as a master trainer with Ranger for Life, Outer Foundation, or do you want to get right into the company you started almost a decade ago?
I'll go wherever you want to go, man.
No, there's so much to unpack. Okay, let's start with your company.
Okay.
Kieffer, Yes. So what happened there? I mean, not what happened there, but you were like, okay, you know what? I'm doing such great thing. Let me do my own. Let me go out and
Yeah.
entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, throughout my 22 plus years in corporate America, I was always informally helping service members and veterans through transition. I've been doing this for 2 decades, but kind of
Mhm.
off the side, right?
Right.
My corporate job kept me really busy, and I had multiple jobs over the years, but it's 50, 60, 70 hours a week, 50 to 75% travel globally. And in 2018, I went, you know what? This is killing me. I'm not having fun anymore.
Right.
I had been in 3 different companies, really brought in to stand up a talent management strategy globally, which includes a lot of things. And I did well. And it was rewarding financially and otherwise, but I just started not having fun. I thought, okay, let's check the bank account and can I afford to take a little risk? And I thought, yeah, I can. I talked to my wife because we are a team. I don't do anything without,
Mhm.
checking in. And said, you know what, maybe it's time. And I thought, okay, so if I'm going to get out of corporate America, what am I going to do? I
Mhm.
thought, what I need to do is do something to help service members and others through career transition. So I established an LLC, and I had had that LLC established legally for a number of years. I thought, okay, where am I going to focus my efforts and how am I going to structure this thing? So my primary focus for the business is helping bridge the culture gap between military veterans and the civilian work environment. I do that by working with individual veterans, and I do some work with businesses also to say, if you're going to do veteran hiring and employment, how do you do it and do it well? Because it can't be a fad of the day if you want it to be enduringly successful for the veterans and for the business. I still, as a second piece, do some strategic talent management, working with not as much as it used to be because by choice, working with businesses to say, what's the talent capability look like in your organization to go do what you said you're going to do by your strategic or other plans, right?
Right.
I'm a leadership coach, helping folks that are in jobs perform better. I'm certified through Marshall Goldsmith. And then I do a little bit of public speaking and that kind of stuff. So that's really the kind of portfolio that I work in.
Yeah.
But my real passion is working the veteran space and especially working with the individual veterans. Towards that end, I do a lot of pro bono work, a lot of volunteer work. 2 years ago ish, Honor Foundation reached out to me and said, yeah, I think you might have something here that's worthwhile. I was very interested. I had to interview. I was blessed that they accepted me in. And I'm really, really fortunate to be part of that great program, helping special operator from all branches
Right.
make the transition into the civilian world. Ranger for Life stood up their More Elite Transition program recently.
Yeah.
Really
Tony Main
honored.
there.
Say again?
Tony Main over there.
Tony Main.
Yeah.
Tony Main. Really honored to be working with Tony and the crew to really help that great 75th Ranger Regiment take good care of their folks while they're in the career transition and moving on to whatever's next for them. More recently, I became a member of the board of advisors for a group called Law Enforcement Connect. It's a little bit of a startup. The founder and I and a few other good folks are working together to figure out how we take transition lessons and apply them to folks from the law enforcement community who have very similar challenges in their career transition. Very specialized culture,
Mhm.
kind of a martial kind of environment, and now they're going to maybe go do something different. So that's
Yeah.
I stay busy.
And I know James is like your avatar on that for both the military and the law enforcement because he's done all of those, right, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I could see definitely from a law enforcement perspective that need for that transition. You're going from, I mean, it's the same. It's exactly the same. The only difference is, some of those folks have gone through a transition before, so they can leverage that military transition experience, or the folks that are just, have always been law enforcement and just transitioning for the first time. So there's definitely benefit there. Because you're spot on with that. That's same there. So.
Yeah, I love that you decided to make your side hustle your main hustle,
Mhm.
and said, you know what, this is what gets me going, and if I'm going to work 70-hour weeks, then I'm going to do it doing something I love. And I
Well,
think
it's funny when people in transition, they go, I don't know what I want to do, or I know I'm really passionate about this. And one of the models I've kind of built and used with these folks is, okay, you're passionate about it, but what are you good at? I always think of it as kind of a triangle, right? Or maybe three
yeah,
intersecting
Venn
circles.
diagram.
Yeah. I mean, so you're passionate about it. Great. Are you any good at it? What's your capability set? What's your skill set? And then the third piece to that is, how do you monetize it? I mean, can you
Yep.
make any money at it? If money's your motivator.
Right.
And if you go, I don't need to make money at it because this is I'm fine. Well, that's great too. But but I had to look at all three and go, okay, well, what am I doing? And been blessed to land where I landed.
Yeah, no, that's that perfect Venn diagram is, your passion. What am I good at? And can I make money? If money's not my motivator to be a millionaire, well, you do have to eat. So
Right.
in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is this going to cover that? And then whatever's right there in that middle, do that.
Yeah. And I ask folks to do that early when I coach them individually, because that helps clarify their search.
Mhm.
The world, it's a world of opportunity out there, right? And if you're getting out or maybe recently separated from the military, you go, wow, there's so many things out here. I don't know how to pick any of it.
Mhm.
So I ask you, start with your passion, look at your capabilities, and start to learn where the money potential lies, just to kind of narrow things down a bit to
Yeah.
make your search a little more efficient and effective.
No, I think that's great advice for people that are transitioning, whether it's to find a new job or entrepreneurship, because there are a lot of similarities, and then even in entrepreneurship, there's similarities with the veterans we go through a lot of imposter syndrome. We go through a lot of, this is great. Oh, I suck again. God, this isn't going to work. This is the dumbest thing ever. I should have stayed in the military. Or this is the dumbest thing ever. I shouldn't have left my job. Take me back. So
that was the name of our book. Marty said that it's going to be called The Dumbest Thing Ever. That was it.
Yeah, The Dumbest Thing Ever, My Journey of Entrepreneurship.
When's that coming out?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if your second one's coming out. We got to wait for you to come up with a second one, so we don't. We got to make sure we put the brain some more. But
we're serious, because it is a journey as you go through it, and we have these things, and your Venn diagram is spot on. That's what we talk to people. We talked about what we do at JTF214. We talk about, okay, yeah, we do digital marketing, but a lot of times left of boom is I've got again the Post-it notes. I got the idea, but it is okay. You're passionate about it, but underwater basket weaving is not going to help you provide for your family. Damn it. Or maybe it is, but you need to move out of Alaska and maybe move to a more tropical climate where you can sell these to tourists or something. So,
right. Well, and the other side of that is, what are you good at? If you take a job just because you're good at it, but you hate it, you're going to be a statistic. You're going to leave that soon. Now, maybe you have to do a job because you're good at it and there's practical things you have to take care of right now. You need cash flow, whatever. But go in with your eyes wide open. It's really disappointing to see folks go, I know I'm going to hate this job, but I got bills to pay and I'm just going to get stuck here for the rest of my life. You're only stuck there if you let yourself be stuck there.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. What were some, I know, and I'm curious, I know some of my similarities, but what were some of your similarities? Because you've already transitioned out of the military and you've gone into, the battlefield of business into boardrooms. What are some of those similarities, you going from the boardrooms to entrepreneurship? You were like, shit, I feel like I'm starting all over again. I'm a young boot just getting out.
Yeah. Well, similarly, we talked about, honoring your past, but leveraging it, not being a prisoner to it. So, I came out of the military like you all did. And yep, I was doing the knife hand thing and, I had all those behaviors and it didn't fit. Well, I came out of the corporate world and I had expectations. Quite frankly, I was a senior enough guy. I had an executive admin or some kind of support the whole time I was there. And now I'm an entrepreneur. And guess what? You have my entire enterprise on the screen with you right now.
Yeah.
So I don't have a robust team of experts around me in my organization to take care of the scheduling or take care of the IT stuff or any of that. So I had to look really robustly at what needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's administrative things and I don't like doing sales. It's not anything I ever aspire to, but guess what? If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you better figure that out. or, hire somebody and pay them with money you may not have yet. I mean, so I had to learn how to do sales and business development,
Yeah.
and I got a little bit better at troubleshooting IT stuff. And gee, guess what? I got to make the accounting stuff work too. And I got to understand my finances. And it's not that I don't get it. I don't like doing it.
Right.
And I see it as a takeaway from the core mission that I'm trying to advance, which there you go with the knife hand again,
Yeah.
So I had to take a more broad look as an entrepreneur than I had to look when I was in the corporate world, which is kind of weird because my job was global strategic, but it didn't include all those administrative surrounding functions. I had people to do that. I could turn that over to folks that's their swim lane, So it was really a really different mindset. And, there's times when you're doing a startup that you got to go 3 steps forward and oops, 1 step back. And okay, well, let's see, what is this? Should I invest here or should I not?
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the things I learned in the military, and I'm sure you all learned that too, is sometimes you have to make a decision with imperfect information.
Right.
And guess what? Whether you're in transition from the military to the civilian world, or whether you're moving from one civilian job in an organization to entrepreneurship, you still have to do that.
Yeah.
So being that risk reward, that risk management, how am I going to make the decision with less than perfect information and realize, it comes with some risk, but the potential upside is worth it. Let's go, or not.
Right. You've hit on a bunch of great things. I mean, there's a lot of things that we talk about all the time is, such as simple as like, take your notebook, turn it from this way to this way. If you're an entrepreneur, and say, this is everything I hate about my business, that the task wise, everything I tolerate, everything I'm fascinated by, and list them all out. And then everything in the hate column, I want you to figure out how you can eliminate, delegate, or automate. And if you're a solopreneur, well, there's no one to delegate. So you got to figure out how you can do the other ones. And so that's where, okay, now I've got a CRM, I've got Calendly for my scheduler. Or maybe I can almost get to the point where I can hire a VA, but I'm not quite there yet. Figure that out. And then as you're doing these tasks, you got to figure out what's your worth. And what's your hourly worth. So if it's $250 an hour, figure out on those tasks, okay, which ones are green? Because I'm making money.
Yep.
Okay, now if it's not making me money, then I need to automate, delegate, or eliminate those as best I can.
100%.
Or if I really enjoy this $15 an hour menial task, then you just got to be cognizant that, hey, I really enjoy playing in Canva and creating the social media swipe files for later, but it's costing me $250 an hour that I could be working on something else.
That's an important point you make in the entrepreneurial world. It's not just how much might I make if, it's how much is it costing me when.
Right.
If I'm doing this and my rate is $250 an hour, every time I'm doing something other than revenue generation or delivering on customer promise, it's costing me $250 an hour.
Right. And that's exactly what, it took me a minute to figure that out as I'm doing this stuff, because I use the Canva swipe file as an example because I love playing in Canva and creating cool things. But I'm like, hey, this is costing me money because I'm not actually building something for a client that's going to go directly to them. Or you mentioned before, wow, I like all the videos you guys have on it's for Lounge with Legends, but that's not going to make me money for JTF 214. So as long as I'm cognizant of it and I know, okay, this is it. And then on the other side, if I'm doing that and it's on the weekend, the other cost is it's taken away from the family.
100%.
You have to be aware of that for work-life balance as well.
100%. And, sometimes, and it's not in every case, but a lot of times I work with folks and, they're retiring or separating from the military, after a first enlistment or whatever. And I said, why are you leaving? And if it's voluntary, and they're like, well, you know what? Work-life balance. I want to spend time with my family. And they say, great. So what kind of job are you going to do? Well, I found this great job that pays, $170,000 a year plus bonus, but I got to travel 70% of the time.
Yeah.
Why are you getting out? So for me, it boils down to it's a decision process, right? And a lot of times it befuddles me because our military members are great at assessing situations and making decisions. You're taught from a very young age how to make decisions, the MDMP process, problem solving, all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
And then it comes to transition, and oftentimes it seems like, the drain plug pops out of the back of their head. It's like, how do you not know to address this? Well, it's because it's too personal. It's too emotional, right?
Right.
And if I can get people to step back and go, quit worrying about the what's and figure out the so what's. What is the problem we're trying to solve? What are the criteria by which you're going to address this? If the problem is I need more time with my family, then maybe you shouldn't take a big job that's going to pay a ton of money, but you're going to be gone 70% of the time.
Right.
Or, so when I coach folks, I try to get them to think about this, take a step back from the emotion and depersonalize it and go, you know what? This is the problem. This is the X. And what are my facts and what are my assumptions and what are the criteria by which I'm going to evaluate the opportunities to go, yes, I'm going to follow up, or no, I'm not going to follow up. And there can be a gazillion of them. But, and then, what are my potential courses? Everybody goes, what's my courses of action? What are the potential solutions? Well, hell, you're trying to solve something before you defined it and understand the criteria by which you're going to measure it.
Right.
So it's an amazing, and I was guilty of it too. I did that too. But
no, I think we all are, because we think it's just a path of least resistance in a way. I need this job, I can do this, and this is it. You don't think about those tertiary effects. And so James and I did a couple of these drills where we were like, okay, what does success look like for us?
yes,
How do we define that? How much is that going to cost us in terms of time? And then what do we need to make to afford this success? And so for us, we had to come up, especially if you're an entrepreneur, what are your non-negotiables? Hey, we're not working on Sunday. We're Chick-fil-A here. We're not working on Sundays. We're not responding in 24 hours to a client because I need to work on something else.
right.
And James and I are getting 2 weeks PTO in the summer, 2 weeks PTO, pay time off.
Did you just give me a raise?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
But so if once you start figuring out that, then you got to figure out again, what is your worth? Well, if I'm going to take 4 weeks off, what's that going to cost us? Who's going to, to David Goggins, who's going to carry the boats, man?
Right. Right.
If we're taking off, who's going to do this? Other stuff.
Right. No,
And so
100%. 100%.
It really is about going back to blocking and tackling. So no, I love what you're doing, and the way you talk about all these. This is part of your military veteran career transitions and your executive coach. We're definitely swimming in similar waters. I think we're in the entrepreneurial space, but there's so many similarities. This is awesome.
One of the things that really drove me to write this book is I have been in so many conversations, either with groups or individuals that are facing transition. And there's a lot of good conversation broadly out there about, well, this is transition and this is what it's like from the military. And I'm a recently transitioned person and this is what I experienced. And I thought, who's telling what the employers are looking for? Because, at the end of the day, the employers are the ones with the jobs.
Right.
Or if you want to franchise, the franchise owners are the ones with the jobs. Or if you're going to be an entrepreneur, it's a little different story. But most people land up working with other companies or for other companies, right? Well, if you want to do that, shouldn't you have a little bit of intelligence preparation to go figure out what you're getting into? At the end of the day, if you want to land with an employer, you might want to know what the employer's looking for. So that was kind of one of the seminal reasons for writing this, because I heard too many people go, I don't really know what employers want. Well, let's talk about it, because and they're done that for a lot of years,
I love number 49. Results matter, not effort. Enough said. And that's a lot of people are like, well, I'm going to work really hard. Okay, what is the value? We're Story Brand certified guides, and the thing we always talk about is when you're interviewing, you need to be able to. If I'm interviewing with Bill, I need to be able to articulate how I'm going to be able to bring 5 times the value of what he's going to pay. That's the results, right here you're talking about. And that's something we're not used to thinking about in the military, thinking about, okay, we're in entrepreneurship, in the military, if I work an 80-hour week, 120-hour, whatever it is, I'm still going to make the exact same pay. because that's what it is. On the outside, you got to figure out what you're worth, and then how are you going to be able to deliver that and those results.
Absolutely. So, I like to tell people there's two reasons why employers hire somebody. The first one is the candidate has convinced the employer that he or she is the best person to do the work they need done successfully to get the results they need, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second is they've convinced the employer that they're the person that's going to best fit and add value to the team. It's the technical, tactical, it's the behavioral versus the deliverable stuff. And they're both critically important. But if you can't do the work and generate the results, your tenure with that organization is likely to be not long.
Right.
Especially if you're in a publicly traded for-profit company.
Mm-hmm.
And they got monthly and quarterly and semi-annual and annual reports. And if the shareholders see the results aren't where they belong, they're going to take action, some kind of corrective action, which might include swapping out who's on the team.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it happens. And you got to be prepared for this. You got to constantly improve your fighting position and know your worth.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of it is our veterans. I've seen it so many times. Our veterans have such great capability and such great worth, and they don't know how to articulate it in a way that lands well on the employer's ears.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of the mission here, is to help get our veterans to understand. Don't talk to me about how hard you work. Tell me about the great results you got.
Right.
And how this was planned and this is what you achieved. Now I'm listening.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
No,
that's great stuff. I mean, that's in the book. One of my favorites, Marty said his, mine's 109, the acronym WAIT. I find myself doing that. Why am I talking? So I'm sitting there like, okay, let me get this together. So I've been using that one. I like that one a lot. But it's just, back to the book, that's why we like this book so much, because you can reference it just like you could like a check sheet or checklist. Hey, what was he talking about? Oh yeah, let me go to that section 109. Yeah, perfect. Is there going to be over 151? I got to ask the Robert Greene question, because he did the powers, and he's always adding more powers, in his book. So are you going to add up more than 151?
I don't know that it will be 152 and beyond, but when we're done with this call, I'm going to go meet with a guy, and we're talking about another book, and we're going to co-author. I don't want to give too much away, but there is a second one in the works that I think is going to be really valuable as an extension to what we've got. Whether it's formatted as 152 and beyond, I don't know. That's a formatting thing, and we'll figure it out. But there is another one in the works.
Love it. Amazing. I want to request a formal autographed edition before Marty right now.
Okay. Okay.
No, but to James' point, I do love the WAIT. That's something we talk about, and it goes back to what I learned as a second lieutenant in OBC, Infantry Officer Basic Course. And the NCO said, "Okay, look, guys, you guys are on the radio, and you're talking about why am I talking?" And what he taught us was, when you grab the hand mic, I want you to remember: think, push, talk. Don't just go blah 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 blah. You gotta. What are you about to transmit before you even do it? Know what you're going to say, because you can't take those words back.
100%. And you see that. I see it in like interviews or networking stuff, especially with folks that haven't prepared themselves well. And getting prepared for those things take practice, right? And like anything, if you want to get good at it, you got to get in the reps, right?
Yeah.
So you're in an interview and somebody says, "Well, tell me about yourself." And all of a sudden they start to recite their resume, and they start talking about high school and the time in college when they did something they thought was cool. And I'm sitting there going, that has absolutely nothing to do with why we're here. And they're just kind of talking and talking and talking. And
right. They don't know. And that's the time where, you treat yourself as a commodity or a good. That's your time where you leverage your unique selling proposition. I help. Who do I help? So achieve a result so that they can, because that's the formula. That's what you respond with, because you're constantly having to discuss the value that you're going to bring to this organization as a value-driven professional. It's going to bring 5 times the value for whatever you're being hired for.
No, absolutely. And there's no secret sauce to this stuff. It's really simpler than people think it is. At the end of the day, if you look at the job advertisement, the job description, the job posting, the information you have about the job, it's a menu of what they're asking for.
Right. Yep.
All you've got to do is answer each of the asks. That's it.
Yep.
I said earlier, the 2 reasons why employers hire is because you have convinced them that you can successfully do the work they need done. You can fit one out value to the team. Read the asks and start. You asked for 3 years experience here. I have those 3 years. And let me tell you a story about that. Here was the situation. Right. Here's the action I took. This is the result. You're asking for this, that, or the other. Tick, tick, tick. You do that in front of an interviewer. You do that in a networking event if it's specific to a job. Holy smokes. Now you're going to stand out. You're going to not only be interested in their job, you're going to cause them to be interested in you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely. And that's what we used to teach too. We did a lot of teaching for transitioning members, and we talked, hey, the STAR method is cool and all, but turn it into a story and really wow them on the other side of the table.
Yeah, and when you tell the story, you got to tell it clear and crisp. You can't go wandering off into the the
you got to be
chapters,
focused on mission. But
yeah,
no, this has been awesome. I tell you, this hour goes by quick, and it is time. James, do you want to ask?
You have it. I don't want to break tradition. It's bad luck to break tradition. You know that. I'm superstitious.
Not bad luck. But hey, Bill, brother, we appreciate you coming on the show, and you've served and you sacrificed, and you've done so much for our veterans, transitioning service members everywhere. What we want to say is, for us, freedom means something a little bit different. Bill, what does freedom mean to you?
So freedom to me means the ability to chase after your desires, to bring forth your abilities, and leverage all that so you can optimize your potential. What it doesn't mean is the ability to go about and act in unfettered ways that can harm others. You need to be able to, within norms, go out and find out what you're good at and do the very best you can possibly do, whatever that is, so you achieve whatever potential you have. That to me that's freedom.
Love it. Find what you're good at and go achieve it. Brother, that's awesome. And thanks to A-Rod over at Salute to Suits, also helping the veterans look sharp in their suits with the shirts, the ties, and everything there. If you're a transitioning service member, go check out Salute to Suits. For $275, you can get a suit, 2 shirts, 2 pocket squares, 2 ties, and you look sharp when you meet somebody like Bill on the street, and you'll have that elevator pitch ready to go. But Bill, thanks for being our legend this week, brother. It has been an honor. I knew this was going to be a great session, and it really is awesome. And I tell everybody, go get this book. This is a great book. This is, again, I love that I could just pick up anywhere and go, my job, it's awesome. It really is. As you said, it's something to put in your kit bag and keep with you. And it's your hip pocket trainer. So it's good stuff.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been an honor and a privilege and a lot of fun. I like talking to you guys.
Good. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Bill. We're going to put you in the green room, and we'll definitely follow up with you. I know James wants to write a book with you. He said it's probably going to be a children's kid book or something. James doesn't write very well, but hey, whatever. But we appreciate it. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for being our legend, brother.
Thank you.
James, dude, I told you I was going to be awesome.
I know. I'm ready for 152 and beyond. That one's going to be I can't wait. I'm excited. It's just it shows you our life is a journey, and if we share our story, we can help others, and that's what it's really about. The core of what he's doing, helping others achieve their success, and you can see his eyes light up when he talks about other people succeeding. That's why I like Bill. That's why I like the book. That's really what makes this powerful.
Absolutely, brother. This has been a great session. Next week we've got
I think we're doing Stoic or Stoicism, or what are we doing next week?
Yeah, we got Aurelius coming in.
Aurelius, that's it.
Yeah, we got Sarah Watkins coming in. She's bringing She's bringing the heat. She's bringing her hubby, and they're going to talk about everything that they're doing for veterans and first responders and helping them basically rehabilitate and get healthy in the manner of the Stoics. So freaking how awesome is that?
It's amazing. It's great. It's going to be a great episode.
And after that, we got Pride and Grit, helping veteran spouses in entrepreneurship. So this is a good week, and this is it's good, especially and I forgot to also say happy April to our military kids. This is the month of the brats, and so happy April. Appreciate and love all the brats out there. I know I'm one. I know James, you're one, and we have a couple running around here. So
yeah, hey, I got to give prayers out again to my uncle. I know it's kind of a redundant thing, unfortunately, but he's back in the hospital. So if we could give him our prayers, that'd be great too.
Absolutely, Uncle Roy. We're praying for you. So we'll close out the show, man. Appreciate it. And James, thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you.
You've been watching the Lounge with Legends show, countering the narrative that veterans are all broken misfit toys. Veterans are the lifeblood of American freedom. Serving in harsh situations, coupled with their training, have forged them into some of the most resilient and capable leaders in the world. And that's where we come in, celebrating the success stories, taking you on a journey of transformation from military to business. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back soon. But find us on Facebook at Lounge with Legend or at JTF214. Till next time.